So today we're going to be doing a review on Ruins from Allplay. So Jesse and I recently played a couple of different rounds on the game, and we are now ready to express some of our experience, some pros and some cons when it comes to the game. Before we get started, just as a heads up, if you actually would like to check out some of those playthroughs or our unboxing, I'll have a link for you in the show notes down below alongside with purchasing the game if you decide to want to go ahead and buy it. That does help us out to continue to do more stuff like this. And don't forget to like and subscribe to let us know that you enjoy these kind of breakdowns as well as playthroughs. All right, Jesse. So we just finished playing, like we talked about. We actually ended up playing 3 games because one of our recordings stopped recording, which was an unfortunate thing because you ended up winning that game.
I know, right? The one I win is the one that didn't get recorded.
Yeah, that was a little unfortunate. So let's talk a few things about the game first and foremost, and then we'll talk about our experience of playing it. The thing I want to start with is the setup.
Yeah.
So I ended up setting up the game before you showed up. And I would say that it actually was a pretty quick setup. Obviously, just like most games you're going to play, it takes a few moments to understand all the different pieces, what they mean, and where they go on the table. Obviously, they have a visual on the rulebook, but it's not as clear as some other games when it comes to like where everything gets placed on the table itself, except for the image. So it took me a couple of minutes, but I would say now that I understand the game, it would probably be a super quick setup and very easy takedown. I think the longest it takes down is to take the cards back out of the sleeves, which we'll talk a little bit more about here in just a moment.
Yeah, I mean, we played a couple rounds already, so even resetting up between games wasn't that long at all.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing to mention too. That a reset of a game also matters as well, and we sometimes like to play games back to back, and so yeah, it was actually a really quick setup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if you're competitive and you like to play a couple games. Like, okay, I lost this one. We got to play at least one more time. Right?
Yeah, that's or if we play co-op games and we lose, we're just like, let's go again.
We have to win.
The only time we couldn't do that was with actually Frostpunk, which is here on behind Jesse's head. That game we could not set back up.
Yeah, that was oof.
It was an intense game. But anyways, back to Ruins. Yeah, so setup was great. Reset up, I like that as well too. That was really good as well. So let's talk a little bit about overall experience with the game. When we first played, I had watched a video on the rules right before we played, and you read the rules.
Yeah.
And by the end of the first game, how did you feel with the rules and how long it took you to kind of grasp the intent of the game?
Well, so for me, a lot of times I love to read the rules because I'm a little bit of a stickler usually when it comes to.
Dude, we're okay. So we're big sticklers on rules. We actually, in one of our sessions, we actually stopped for a few minutes to just go through and read the rules, and you'll see it in the playthrough because I'm not cutting it out. It's part of what we do. And yeah, we had to make sure that a certain rule was applied because that would have changed the dynamic of the game. Granted, I still won, but so we'll see. Actually, maybe that would have helped you if I.
Yeah, maybe it would have. Yeah.
So,
for sure.
but nonetheless, like yeah, we're very big sticklers on rules. So you went through the rules. You thought it was fairly easy, but I know you did mention something towards the end of that where you're like, hey, I just want to get going.
Yeah. So for me, it's usually easier to start like read the rules so I get an idea of what's going on and then start playing. Because once you start playing, all those things kind of click. And I feel like this game here was really easy to pick up.
Yeah.
I do think there are some like strategies that are like more deep thinking that you don't automatically pick up, and the rules don't kind of like put it in your face. But that's what I kind of like about it so far is like there's more to it than just playing out a card and kind of getting lucky with what kind of suits you get.
Yeah, it's kind of like we finish a game and you're like, wow, now I know better. I'm going to be able to play better, right? And I think that's what ended up happening by our third session was it became a lot clearer earlier on how to strategize with our cards because there's certain things you could do in the game where you flip the cards from day to night based off of the card on the opposite side might have some advantages for you or it might hurt you a little bit. And so I think, yeah, getting those strategies pretty early in because you were starting to strategize towards the end of the first game. I think I was doing the same thing. And then by the second and third game, it was we pretty much had this down pat. So and that's not to say that that's good or bad. That just is, right? Like we're really good at picking up on games. So I think it's great when games are able to do that for players where it's not, 10 games in and you're like, oh shoot, we're still kind of trying to figure out like TI, Twilight Imperium. It's a pretty intense game. In that game, you have to really catch on the rules and it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Where this game, within just a couple of rounds, we were already getting to the strategy focus rather than the how to play this game.
And so what I like about that is there are a wide range of players who play board games. There are people who love like the strategy and the nitty gritty and like all of these like intense things, and there are people who kind of like more of a casual play. And I feel like this game does a really good job of almost hitting both.
Like a blend.
Yeah, blend. Yeah.
I would say that. Yeah, I think it's easy to understand, and I think there's some challenge to mastering it. Right.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to get good at this game. Plus, there's some luck in it, right? What you're drawing, but there is some some skill based off of what you claim, right? There's I brought these over here, but it's going to be harder to see in the video. But there's these little things that for every player, you get to claim up to 2 cards in the game. And that is strategy.
Yeah,
you have to choose the right things to claim.
And you can do them both in the same round, by the way.
Yeah, and that was a rule that we were trying to make sure that we are following as well too. So yeah, there's things that you have to do that are strategy focused, and there is obviously some luck based off of what you get drawn, because there's also that really cool thing where if you drew my card that I claimed, that I get to have that card for better or worse.
Yeah, which to me, I really like that kind of that way that they use that, because it's both a double-edged sword a little bit, because yes, you're getting a card that's useful, it's great, it can give you a lot more things to do, but at the same time, the whole point of the game is to get all the cards out of your hand.
Yeah.
And so you are giving up a card that could help you, but at the same time, you're also getting your win condition that little bit closer.
A little
at the
bit.
same time.
Although the caveat to that is usually for claiming a card, it's a good card,
It's a good
right?
card.
It has good abilities or a really, really high number, which I've learned as we played by the third game. Just claiming a card because it's a high number is not really advantageous often.
Yeah.
It can help you in certain situations, but having cards that have like the, unexhaust 2 flames or force your opponent to draw a card, like I forced you to draw a card in one of the games, or, the wild card, which was really cool too.
Which is my favorite so far. Yeah.
I picked up on that very quick as well too. So yeah, I like that. The strategy in this game is really good. I don't think you're gonna run into too much of the same thing over and over again because of how the cards play out. And one of the things we also saw too was, so we were playing 2 players. This can go up to 5, by the way. And just kind of seeing how it plays with 2 players, I actually think it gets even more fun with additional players, because there's more cards in the game that you're playing with. So you take out more cards out if you're just doing 2 players. And one of the cool things is no matter how many players you're playing with, I believe there's always going to be a few cards in the discard pile, or not even discard, I should say, sorry, in the draw pile. And what that does is you can kind of do some deduction based off of what's in your hand and what the other player will have. But you could be wrong because of what's in the draw pile. And there was one game where I played and I had 1 through 9 perfectly. Right? Out of all 9 cards you can draw in your hand. And so in my head, I was like, okay, there's a high probability Jesse also has 1 through 9, but that wasn't the case. You had 2 10s.
2 10s.
And so 2 of those other numbers that would have been, the 1 through 9 that I thought you might have had were actually in the draw pile. So that actually was a really cool thing to like kind of pay attention to and be like, okay, well, there's a different strategy
And
that
I
I got to
think
play with.
the really nice way about this game is that they planned for that. Right, so like that's how they get away, because like if you're good at counting numbers, right, like you're playing blackjack and you can card count, right, this game would be like you'd be so advantageous.
Well,
here.
it'll be good, but you also have to consider that every player at the beginning of every round gets to take a day card, turn it into night, and you don't know what that card is.
Yeah, so the way they really kind of thought about that a lot when they built this game, which is actually really nice to see, because some games like are a little bit more simpler, like there's like almost like a trick to it almost.
Yeah.
And then some of these games have more of a hidden complexity that I kind of enjoy. And I feel like this one has that.
Yeah, I think it gives a lot of nuance for every time we end up playing the game as well. Now, the box says 30 minutes. And I would say with recording on our first session, it was about 30 minutes. So gameplay was probably closer to 25-ish.
Yeah.
And that was for 2 players. And then the second round, we ran through that much quicker. I think closer to 20-ish minutes.
Yeah.
So this is really...
And that's including taking that rule break while we're trying to figure out.
We had to go through the rule break, which obviously can happen in your games with setup and takedown. I would honestly say, you could probably get this game out very quickly, very easily. You had mentioned a really good thing. This is great for kind of getting somebody maybe across that threshold of like doesn't really like to play board games but enjoys maybe card games or like party games. This is kind of like a nice blend.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's too difficult to understand the mechanics of the game, the cards. There's not too much going on to like overwhelm somebody, especially if you've played it and can, relay that information to another player as well too. So I think for me, for this game, for everything that it entails, I love it. It's a small box too, which I'm starting to like small boxes more and more. I think when they pack a punch like this, I think it really stands out in my collection to be able to bring out, especially when we have if we do full board game days, this is a great starter or a great finisher.
100%. Yeah, and then it doesn't take a lot of time. It's really fun and you can play it multiple times if you wanted to. And I like the thing you talked about, the small box, because you can carry this around with you easily.
Yeah, it's a great travel.
It doesn't take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
A lot of these
There's a baggie included, so it's easy to store everything. Everything's well organized. There's sleeves that come in the box as well too, and I love that.
And they have extra sleeves in case you damage them.
Yeah. So they have these are the sleeves as well too. Which, by the way, you could check out the unboxing if you want to see all the details on everything that comes in the box, because It is really cute. I like it.
Yeah,
I think this was a great find. I found it at my local game store, and I was glad that I picked it up just because it looked really cute.
Yeah.
And this would be a recommendation for anybody that enjoys playing games. And again, we're pretty advanced players, and we also like games like this that are a little bit more quick and easy to play.
I agree with you. And I honestly, like, I just want to talk about a little bit about, like, this is a well thought out idea. Like, you have a sleeve, and you add things to the sleeve, and it makes, like, the cards better. So, like, I feel like in a 5-player game, I can only imagine how, like, some of these cards could turn out to be.
Get pretty wild.
Wild, yeah.
Yeah, you slide in cards that will add like +3 or whatever to the number that's already stacked, which then gets harder to count.
Yep.
It gets harder to count those cards. So yeah, Jesse, what's your overall on this game?
I loved it. It was fun. I actually want to play more of it already. And that's a thing for me. Like I like playing a lot of variety of games, so it's hard for me to be like, hey, I want to play this game over and over and over again. Like I've got a couple favorites, like Res Arcana, that I'll play over and over and over again. But I really like this game. I think it's really fun.
You know what's really interesting here too was that right before we started recording, I had brought to you up an idea of like, what does this game kind of remind you of? And neither one of us could really pick out an exact game. I mean, there's probably other ones out there, right? But as far as like from our gameplays and the things that we've enjoyed, like there's not really anything that really matches it. So this is a great addition to the collection that changes up a different style of game that doesn't, feel exactly the same like another game, because that happens sometimes,
exactly,
right? And that's not a bad thing, right? Obviously, you might like certain mechanics, whether it's like worker placement or deck building or engine building, like any of those kind of things. This is almost like a deck builder, but like you don't always get your deck back.
Don't get it.
You get 2 cards you get to choose throughout the game that you want back, and that's like the max you can do for deck building, which is technically still in there.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, I would say overall, yeah, I think this is a unique add to the collection, and I'm glad we found it. And like I mentioned earlier, if you want to pick up your copy, I'll have a link for you in the show notes down below. That helps us out so we can keep playing on more games and do more playthroughs and these reviews for you as well. And then what I'll do for you as well is I'm going to actually toss up our playthrough as well as our unboxing if you want to check either one of those out, so you can get more an idea of how Ruins gets played or see all the components that come with the game.
Awesome.